Vince a few times, and we haven't seen each other in 11 years. What was it like seeing Vince again, and how did this all come about to get into the Hall of Fame? Because it's been 11, 12 years, legit.
Yeah, and last time Vince and I talked, it wasn't a good talk. It was one of those things where I was feeling really bitter. I was really banged up. I was having a painkiller problem. Vince was trying to help me a lot with it, and I didn't want to listen to him.
Is that the reason why you left in the first place?
The injuries were building up, and I did ask for a part-time contract, but back then they weren't doing it unless you were in a company 20 years. I was only there 6. So I mean, I understood, but Vince did want me to take time off, but I just didn't want to abide by the rules, and that's my fault. That wasn't Vince's doing. And we just, it was a bad parting, and I wasn't expecting Vince to be so open arms and forgiving when I came back. We literally did not talk for 11 years. And when I walked in there, he hugged me like I was his son. And it was like, wow, this guy, Vince was always good to me. He always paid me well. He treated me well. He protected me. He treated me like I didn't have a father for 20 years before. Vince was more of a father figure to me, and he can be a little immature and childish. How he is. He likes to mess around, but as far as how he is when he's serious and when he's trying to help you out, he is a father figure. And I just felt like there was no way Vince was going to be like that when he saw me. I thought maybe he'd give me a quick handshake and tell me to sit down, but he hugged me and he didn't let go. And it was like, wow, this is really cool.
Was that at his office?
Yeah. I actually went to see, I saw Stephanie on the way, and then Hunter, I met with him for about an hour, and then we walked over to Vince's office, and Vince and I reconnected, and we didn't talk about, all I did was apologize to him about the last meeting and why I did what I did. And I explained to him that I didn't want to get better. I just wanted to get away and do my own thing. And, he completely understood. He said, I'm just glad you're back.
Vince is like that, though. Like once you kind of get the forgiveness, he doesn't want to talk about, what happened or go through it. It is what it is, and it's done.
Yeah, I think he felt better off not talking about it. Yeah.
So how did it all come about for you to start this reconciliation?
Well, I tried. I contacted Vince a few years ago. I always had his number, and when I got out of rehab, I always knew I was coming back, or I wanted to come back. I didn't know if Vince would ever allow me to. So I got a hold of him, and he wasn't interested. And I understood. I mean, when you get in trouble like I did, and you have 4 DUIs in 5 years, and Vince knows you're having problems with painkillers and other pills, and and now it's alcohol, and he has a publicly traded company. He has a responsibility. He can't say, "Hey, Kirk, come on back. We'll take a chance with you." I know you went to rehab, so you must be fine. So I just had to slowly prove to him, and every year I contact him again, and little by little, he started responding. I hope you're doing well. We'll talk soon. And then, last year he said, listen, Hunter's going to call you. And he called me, and he said, Triple H called me and said, we don't know what we're going to do with you, but we're going to think of something. We do want to bring you back, but I'll get a hold of you. And he didn't call me for another year until this year. So I gave up. I was like, oh, whatever. It's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, hey, Kurt, it's Hunter. We want to bring you back for the Hall of Fame. So it was nice.
It's interesting. I don't know if this was ever said by Vince, but the words that I heard is that, we don't want an Olympic hero dying on our watch.
That could be very possible.
And you mentioned that you had some pretty bad addictions to where, like you said, what a horrible thing personally, and also publicly and everything. Can you imagine if something would have happened to you? It's
crazy because a lot of fans are like, I don't understand, Kurt. Why wouldn't he bring you back? You're such a great wrestler. You're Olympic gold medalist. You were so successful, and it's like, if you don't see why, you can't be that intelligent, because I had issues, and if I were Vince, and I wouldn't hire me because I wouldn't want an Olympic gold medalist dying under my watch or getting in trouble over and over and over again.
Or anything,
Yeah, so I completely understood, and I knew what I had to do. I had to behave, and I had to show that my life changed. And little by little, I think they were following me, looking at my social media, seeing that I was more of a family man, and I started getting away from that stuff. Started Angle Strong Initiative for people to stay in recovery, and then they finally started seeing, okay, this guy's got his stuff together.
Then you mentioned Angle Strong. What is that?
It's an initiative to keep people in recovery after they go to rehab. I'll just talk real quick, but
Sure.
21 million Americans have a drug disorder. Only 10% go to rehab. 2 million. Of that 10%, 5% stay in recovery. That's 100,000 people out of 21 million. After you got out of rehab, there's no aftercare. You can go to AA meetings or NA meetings, but there's nothing. When you're in rehab, there's structure. It's really easy to stay clean in there. You're eating properly. You're exercising. You're going to class every day. You're getting the proper rest, and there's no triggers. And then you get out, and it's like, holy smoke. This isn't like rehab. This is the real world, and everything just starts to crumble. And no one's ever had like an aftercare program, so I started one. And there's an app that goes along with it called the Angle Strong app, and it just keeps people in recovery by you have lifelines if you have to check in the app every day, and when you answer the questions and check in, if you don't check in, your lifelines are notified. That's your family, your loved ones, your sponsor. We want the families to be involved so they can hold you accountable too. So there's structure to this program, and it's also GPS enabled. So if you do relapse, we'll find you. It's more about saving lives and keeping people in recovery.
That's great, man.
Yeah, it's a great
really,
concept.
really cool.
Yeah,
because like you said, I think it's always cool to see the guys that can kind of get over the addictions and stay clean. There's a few. Regal comes to mind, but there's so many, very few, and a lot of our guys have gone as a result, which is a shame. But it's a different world now, which is good here in this company as far as getting tested and all that sort of stuff.
I commend real quick, Chris.
Yeah.
When I left, they just started drug testing, and I wrestled WrestleMania 2019 with my neck broken. I got my doctor to clear me, but it wasn't a WWE doctor. So it was like, hey doc, clear me for this. Well, I can't. Clear me. Okay, you're clear. You can't do that now. It's amazing what WWE has done with the drug program, the wellness policy, making sure that a WWE doctor clears you to wrestle. They've done an excellent job with that over the last, 8 years?
Yeah.
So it's so much different now, and you're seeing the difference in talent and how, maybe 1 out of 1,000 gets hit for drugs, or, back then it would have been, 90% of them. So
999.
yeah, so things are different now.
It's funny.